So, hello everyone. This is the Search, Nav, and Support group. We'll be looking at the work done in the iteration from January the 30th to February the 12th. I'm gonna share. I'm gonna start first, and I'm gonna share my screen. This iteration, I did a small drop down for filtering the resources page by language. So this page will be redone in the next app, the next iteration. So we'll be doing this again in the next app. But right now we can do that in production. And I also worked at adding a module built by the Nox app also for component cache for the get started pages. I also did a small fix in typography for the analyst page, and did another round of image cleanup in our Nox app, the buyer experience repo. And there's some discussion going for automating the check for images that are in the Nox repo. Sorry, I'm going to share. Yeah, sorry. And yeah, that will be for the image cleanup. We'll be doing some automation there and try to keep the images cleaned up, and also maybe do a static server for the static images in a bucket. And yeah, that was for me for this iteration, and I'm headed over to Laura, I think. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, so this iteration, a couple of incidents popped up that myself and Nathan kind of triaged. They were both kind of the same incident. One was a symptom of the other problem, but for all of our engineers in www, the way that www grabs our buyer experience files, that artifact, is that it goes and looks for the artifact that's been uploaded and then creates a new folder and puts all of those files into our www folder. But finding that artifact was 503ing, and then later was 404ing. So 503 is insinuating that something is forbidden, that we don't have access to. And so we were trying to figure out why we didn't have access to it. Lauren helped us figure out that we had recently made our buyer experience repo private. Security had done that while they do some cleanup. So making our repo public again fixed that problem. And then the next day, the residual errors, the 404s, imply that the file doesn't exist. And so it wasn't being uploaded where it was supposed to be. And that was because all of our runners that do the jobs, the pipeline jobs, were uploading our file to they were still private runners, and they were still uploading our artifact to a private location. So it didn't exist where we were looking for it. So we deleted all of our shared runners, so that we now use regular runners for all of our jobs to run, and that file goes where it's supposed to go so that www can grab it and doesn't cause all of the MRs to fail, which is great. A little spooky that we didn't really know this was happening until all of the MRs started failing. So Nathan had set up, he's been out for a couple of days this week, but prior to leaving, he set up a Slack channel that alerts for any failed pipelines in www. He's going to clean that up so it only alerts us for our buyer experience failure, the job that we care about. We don't need to know every single it's very loud right now, so I wouldn't recommend that anyone joins it, but it's called DEX alerts if anyone wants to join it in Slack. And he'll keep tweaking it just to alert us of things that kind of are important to our team. So that came up for a couple of days, this iteration. I created a new blog repo as well. I have share. It's pretty bare bones. I've got a million things open here. Okay, I don't know if that's sharing, but if you can see it, it's like a real slippers-free version of our blog. But it is like it's grabbing actual posts. These are 2 random posts I added in, and the problem that we're running into now is that we are unable to use Vue 2 plugins and modules in a Vue 3 Nuxt 3 project. So trying to figure out a workaround for that. But for now, we have basic routing. We have Google Fonts loading, which is kind of cool. I also did a little note banner thing here for the admins, the Netlify CMS admin page that just kind of lets people know what happens when they log in, because people were logging in and creating MRs and weren't sure kind of what that process looked like and what was happening and why they had access to it. So that banner exists now. And I think that's more or less it. Oh, I created a new plan for some personalization ideas. So that's an issue that I'll link out to our team for feedback for how we can figure out if someone's coming from SMB or enterprise and maybe adjust the navigation appearance based on what audience we're serving. But yeah, okay, that's it for me. Next is Carrie's out. So Miracle.
Hi, everybody. So this iteration, I focused on really coming up with a plan for us to be able to recognize a logged in user in the marketing site. And I'm happy to announce that after some deliberation, we've decided to go through with implementing a cookie in the GDK that we can then read in the marketing site. I also focused on our 2 GTM OneTrust blockers. And again, I'm happy to announce that it looks like we have a solution that's working, that's finally removed the OneTrust blocker, at least in the buyer experience repo. I think the only thing we're deciding now is whether or not we want to add OneTrust gave us, like OneTrust docs suggests that you add a class to GTM to prevent blocking from happening again. And right now we have blocking not happening at all without those classes. So we're trying to decide if we're going to implement those classes just to dot our I's and cross our T's. And that's it for me. I will pass it off to John.
Thank you. Hello, team. For this iteration, I worked first on the changelog file. Nathan helped me doing the schedule pipeline to run the changelog. I will show it to you right now. Here it is. This is the result. We have this file that is our changelog file. We need to, as a progress, in our progress to improve some things. But this is finally a changelog that is automated, that it will be run at the end of every iteration. This is our first version. We have in our package.json file the version 1.0.0, so we increase it to 1.1.0 depending on what we did. So it has icons, we have refactors, we have some styling things, some features, some bug fixes, and some content changes. Each of these items has the commit that were made in the main branch, and also which issue it closed. So it's pretty cool. Also, it created a tag. So we have 2 tags right now. So an initial version that I created before the first automated run, and the version 1.1.0, that is the current version that we have. So hopefully tomorrow it is going to run again, and it will increase to version 1.0, 1.1.1 or 1.2.0, depending on what content we added to the main branch or to the buyer experience repository. Next, I worked on refactoring the partners page. So we removed some partners that didn't account as TPAs or for the legal team. And we created some new categories. So I removed from some categories that weren't needed anymore. And I added some like the developer tools, identity and access management, and localization. It will be changing the next iteration because we need to add some other partners, but right now this is our current page. And last but not least, my favorite one, we have the search as a new page. So right now we can do some cool search like this. with URLs. So we can use query params. So let's type continuous. And it does the search, results for continuous, that it was our search test. By default, we have sort by that is suggested, source that is marketing, sort by here, and source here, and the page for the pagination that is below here. And if we change anything in our filters, so for example, the sort by most popular, it will be changed here in the query params. Also here the source, here's the handbook, and also the page. If we change the page will be 4. So if we go to any page and go back, we will have our search as we had before moving on to another page. And that's it for me. Next one is Lauren.
That is so cool. I kind of built on that. We removed blog posts and anything that starts with handbook from that global about search. So if you go and search for something, those won't show up, and it really just like focuses it down to our marketing site. So that's completed in SwiftType. And I did some investigation in implementing the next I18N module for localization, just kind of spun up an MR, just kind of like figuring out what would that look like. And so we closed that out. And where's my thing? There's my thing. Okay, the cool things, fixed our JavaScript issues for the German homepage in Smartling, and we also completed our German homepage translation job. But there's still some issues, so it needs more human review on that one. Still working on getting review apps tied up to Smartling. And we're in flight for doing an audit on the marketing site to change DevOps platform to DevSecOps platform. And so like kind of just honing in on what that first iteration is going to look like. And then me, Philza, and Justin are working on our process changes issue for some tweaks we're going to do, and we'll close that out, such as a new engineering template, issue template. So you'll see that when creating buyer experience issues now, which is so cool. So that's going to wrap it up for this iteration. And with that, we'll see you later. Miguel will smash that button.